Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaskar. We will be starting with the fourth lecture in second module, which is a lecture on sales organization. This particular topic, which is sales organization, shall be covered in two lectures, which is lecture 9 and lecture 10. We will start with lecture 9, where we will be discussing the few topics on sales organization, and then we will be moving to lecture 10, which will complete this topic on sales organization. This is again a part of the second module of this particular course. So, let us start with lecture 9. Now, the topics or the concepts which are covered in this particular lesson titled sales organization are: 1. The meaning and purpose of sales organizations, the formation of sales organizations, sales organizational structures, and field sales organization. The first two topics or the first two concepts we will be studying in lecture 9, and lecture 10 will talk about sales organization structures and field sales organizations. Now, if you recall, in the previous lecture we have spoken about the planning function. Okay, we spoke about plans, we spoke about corporate strategic planning, the SBU and the division level planning, and the product or the operational level planning. And then elaborating on the product or operational level planning, we further spoke about the marketing objectives, the sales objectives, the sales strategies, and the tactics. Now, once we actually are done with the planning function, the next function in management involves organization and organizing. Now, when we talk of organizing deals with doing the things, but organization means giving it a form, giving it a structure, so that the plan, so that any activity or anything, any function, any activity, any plan which is to be undertaken is done under the aegis of a structure, of an organization structure. Clear cut defining of roles and responsibilities through a structure, also explaining the superior subordinate relationships, also explaining the job titles, the job roles, the job descriptions, the superior subordinate relationships, and so that there is some kind of coordination, some kind of control mechanism, and people know what they are supposed to do. They know what their title is, what their role is, what their responsibility is, what they are supposed to do, who they are supposed to report to, who reports to them, how are they to coordinate with each other to be able to achieve those objectives and those plans. So, when we start with planning, the next phase which comes in is organizing our resources, and this actually leads to a structure, which is the organization structure. So, looking at the broad managerial functions, which is planning, organizing, staffing, directing, control, and if you recall, in the first lecture itself we had spoken how sales force management deals with everything. It deals with planning, it deals with organizing, it deals with staffing, directing and controlling. So, here now we are moving from the planning or from the strategic plan and the product and operational plan to organizing resources to be able to achieve those plans. So, as and when we are organizing our resources, what it leads to is an organization structure. This is general management when we talk of. The same thing if we put in the context of marketing and sales, we need to have a sales organization in place which clearly specifies job titles, job roles, responsibilities, gives a job description, explains superior subordinate relationships, clearly demarcates who reports to whom, and so that there is coordination, there is control, and plans can be actually achieved, objectives can be actually achieved. Now, the sales organization is a part of the total organization, which is given the responsibility of effective selling of products manufactured by a company. So, it is another organization within the larger organization. You have a large company, within the company you have the marketing department, and within that marketing department you would have the sales function. So, you have a sales organization which is a part of the total organization. It involves people working together for attaining the sales objectives of the company, and it is concerned with planning, organizing, leading and controlling the activities of the sales force. So, you have management is getting things done through and with people, and if people have to, if a manager has to get things done through and with people, he must plan, organize, staff, direct and control. The same holds good for a sales organization, where the sales manager, whether at the top level or at the medium level or at the lower level, the sales head or the sales manager has the responsibility of planning, organizing, leading and controlling the activities of the sales force. So, sales organization is another organization, or within, it's a part of the total organization, which is given the responsibility of the selling function, selling the products which have been manufactured by the organization, and it involves people who are working together in coordination with each other, in harmony with each other, to achieve the sales objectives of the organization. So, we start with planning, now we move to the organizing function. As I said, organizing would be the function. What it leads to, or what it gets explained through, is the organization structure. Now, what is the meaning and purpose of a sales organization? So, a sales force will be a group of people who work hard to achieve the quantitative and qualitative objectives or goals of the organization, and in order to be successful, this organization must evolve according to changing conditions. Okay, now let us talk of small organizations which gradually become big and become large. They would definitely have to have a shift in the way the functions to be performed, in the way the different people have to play different roles. In a small organization, everybody would be doing everything, but as and when organizations become larger, as and when they start catering to different segments, or they try to cater to different customer groups or different markets, they must evolve. The sales organization must evolve. It has to assume a bigger form, it has to assume a bigger structure, a larger structure, it has to become more specialized. Okay. So, similarly, keeping in mind the selling, the kind of customer you are dealing with, keeping in mind the selling relationship that you want to enter, whether transaction or value added or partnerships or consultative, or whether it is going to be the selling method that you follow, whether it is team or whether it is consultative or whether it is just transactional. In all of these, you have to basically, with changing selling styles also, the size of the company also, kinds of clients, kinds of relationships, any changed circumstances, the sales organization also must evolve. So, with the change in the environment, with the change in the kind of with internal environment or the external environment that a company faces, the sales organization must evolve. Internally, if then the organization becomes larger, or when it decides to operate or cater to different segments, both at domestic front or the international front, okay, and the sales organization must change. Externally also, when there are changes or opportunities which one identifies in the external environment and wants to take advantage of, again there maybe newer markets, newer segments, again there the sales organization must evolve. So, sales organizations exist, but with changing environments, with changing requirements, the sales organizations must continuously evolve. Now, what are the purposes of a sales organization? Now, sales organization, one, helps develop, train and groom specialists. Two, it helps in performance of important activities, key activities. It helps in achieving coordination, defining authority, also optimizing of time and resources. So, as I just said previously, any organization structure will help you talk about or illustrate to you the job titles, the job roles, the responsibilities, the reporting relationships, and so that the different activities can be performed. we would go more specific and discuss the 5 points here, where we will talk about the reasons behind the need for a sales organization. So, the purpose of a sales organization we will be discussing under these 5 different points. So, first is development and grooming of specialists. So, when businesses expand, when companies start dealing with newer clients, newer customer segments, newer products, okay, it diversifies, complexities get enhanced, and it becomes very important for an organization to have specialists. It can hire specialists, outsource the specialized roles to third parties. It can also train in-house employees as specialists for effective management of the organizations. So it has these options. When such specialists are required, they may either be outsourced. That activity may be outsourced, and these specialists may be hired. So, you may have a situation where you outsource the specialized functions and hire specialists, or you train the in-house employees as specialists for effective management of the organization. So, sales department here calls for effective delegation of authority, and this clear-cut definition of roles, responsibilities, delegation of authority, who is to do what, to report to whom and how, clearly paves the path for specialization. So, it leads sales organizations, helps develop specialized sales force, and tasks have to be divided into manageable units, so that the development of specialists can be encouraged in an organization. Many organizations hire specialists, they outsource these specialized roles and they hire third party, but of course it is always good for an organization if it can groom or train its own manpower, its own sales force to be specialists in their own field, and this would be beneficial for an organization in the long run as well. It would lead to versatility of role in a person, it would lead to specialization in a role. So, a person may broadly be knowing many things, he would be versatile, but then he also becomes very specialized in a particular domain, and that could help the organization in the long run. So, sales department organization, or the organization of the sales function into a department with clear-cut roles, responsibilities, reporting relationships, etc., would lead to promotion of specialization in the department and in the organization as a whole. Second point is performance of key activities. The sales organization here would mean that the various activities, the various key activities have been identified, and those key activities are now clubbed together based on some kind of a homogeneity of these activities, or relation or interdependence of these activities. They may be specialized, and a person may be employed to be in charge of these activities. So if they, and of course a mechanism of control and coordination has to be also provided in, so that the different activities are performed in coordination or in conjunction with each other, and broadly the sales objectives are being met. So, a sales organization must ensure that all crucial activities are performed. Now, first thing is to identify the activities necessary to achieve objectives. The second is to club similar ones together, and then put a person in charge of those activities, or to put a person in place who would ensure that these various activities are performed. And if activities at different different verticals in the sales role are performed, automatically the activities of the sales department get fulfilled. So, a sales organization must clearly ensure that the various activities are performed. Of course, what is important and what is crucial will depend upon time. It changes from environment, it changes with environment, it changes from time to time. And that is why we just said in the previous slide that the sales organizations must evolve with change in environment and with change in time. So, assignment of tasks should be done in such a way that essential tasks are not missed out in any way, crucial tasks are handled carefully, and these tasks are allotted to specific individuals with specialization. Responsibility of maintaining key accounts or big accounts, or accounts of medium and high sales and profit potential must be properly taken care of. So while the planning has taken place, while sales planning is done, sales organization here would involve identifying activities which would help achieve the plans, clubbing together similar activities or interdependent activities with each other, and clearly demarcating them from the other activities, putting each activity under a head and ensuring that all or a head or an in charge, the in charges of the various activities ensure that activities under their aegis are being performed well and conducted. So in such a way it would be ensured that through coordination, through control amongst the different activity heads, the overall sales plan or the sales group goal is achieved. So it's very essential that tasks are assigned properly, important tasks are not missed out, and highly important activities are given to specialized personnel. Also important clients or important accounts are handled by people who are well trained to do so. And so accordingly, such big clients or such big accounts are delegated to people who have been trained, groomed, and are specialized in their roles. Third is, as I just said, coordination. It's very important that coordination exists amongst different sales activity heads. So if the activity heads who are in charge of their own respective activities are working in coordination with each other or in conjunction with each other, and the various sales force or the sales people within the sales manager or the unit head are working in coordination or in conjunction with each other, the objectives of the organization can be achieved. So coordination is a very important function. It's very important for the smooth functioning of an organization. Coordination also ensures that there is no duplication of activities, there is no chaos, there is no confusion, and resources are optimally utilized. Employees in an organization come from different walks of life. They have diverse backgrounds, they have diverse personalities, they have diverse interests, and coordination can often become a difficult task, not only between the different activity unit heads, but also within the same within the same sales function activity. It may so happen that people in a particular under a particular head activity head are not able to perform or work with each other, coordinate with each other. So it's important that things are coordinated overall in the sales department across different verticals, and also within the same vertical things are handled in proper conjunction to each other, in proper coordination with each other. So it is very important to motivate individuals towards achieving organizational objectives. Coordination will involve a big responsibility on the part of the sales of the unit head or of the sales sales manager at the branch or at the territories. It would be very important for him to coordinate the activities of the sales force. So if we go a little more and if we come at the micro level, at the branch level, so there are a lot of sales people working under the branch manager. It is important for the branch manager to ensure that there is coordination between the various sales people working under him. Otherwise, a cross territory may happen, or the same salesperson may go to client 1 and to client 2, and another salesperson may also have already been or visited to client 2. So there's duplication of activity. So it's very important that there is coordination between the salespeople under this unit head or under this activity head, which could be at the branch, which is the sales manager. Similarly, there have to be coordination between different branch managers under a particular region or under a particular zone. So this is what we mean, that there has to be coordination both within the branch as across different branches, or if the sales organization is structured not on basis of geography, but on the basis of product, or on the basis of a line and staff function. We will be talking about the line and staff function in the subsequent lesson. In that case, we will see it's again important that there is coordination between the people working under an activity head or a line function, and there is also coordination between the line and staff or people in the different verticals who are working with each other. So employees must work in coordination and in conjunction with each other. Coming to defining authority, as we just mentioned, authority may be line or staff or functional. Authority is line when the main person who is delegated with the line authority is directly responsible for achieving the objectives of the sales function. It is staff when he or she performs a support function and helps the line. And it is functional when it is typically to do with a product or an operational, or a specific function pertaining to the product and the operational. So we will talk about this in the subsequent session, and it's very, very important for sales executives to know whether they have a line authority, or they have a staff authority, or they have a functional authority. The line, as I said, generally we will see the field selling team, or the staff would be anybody who assists them, and the functional will be in terms of, say, an after sales role, or in terms of a market research role which the staff function has, which the sales team or the sales personnel has to perform. So sales executives must understand the nature of their authority, and they must support each other, they must coordinate with each other, because line, staff, functional, they all actually help each other, and they must rely on each other's support for achievement of the objectives. Not everybody would do the line function, not everybody would be specialized in the staff function, not everybody would be specialized in the functional role, but they all must understand that they help each other, they must work in coordination with each other for the smooth achievement of the objectives. Instruction should never come from multiple sources. It can lead to conflict, it can lead to confusion, it can lead to chaos. So it's very important that authority is defined, and organizational structure helps define authority. In the beginning of the lecture, I did discuss that the organization structure would talk about the title or the job title, and the role and the responsibility and the reporting relationships. So it would clearly demarcate authority, who reports to him, who and what is the authority that person has, what are the do's, what are the don'ts associated with his role, and what is his entire role and responsibility. So sales executives must have a clear understanding of this. Line authority and staff authority and functional authority, we will talk about it a little more now here. Line authority here is the most fundamental authority within an organization, which reflects existing superior subordinate relationships and involves execution of orders which by people in the lower positions as per the organizational structure and as per the organizational hierarchy. So this is the most fundamental, where there is a superior, there is a subordinate, and they are directly involved in achieving the sales objectives. The orders are executed by those at the lower positions, and the orders come from the top. The staff is an advisory role who basically act as a support function. They also suggest those who hold line as to how the orders have to be implemented and how things have to be done. So it's more of an advisory role, and the functional authority here takes care of specialized roles in areas like technical experts to enforce their directives. So it enables specialists in areas like technical experts to enforce their directives. So the functional authority is very, very specialized. As I just said, whether it is line or whether it is staff or whether it is functional, they are all very, very important for an organization, and people must work, people in the line, in the staff and in the functional must all work together in conjunction with each other to perform the various roles. Of course, as we will see in the subsequent lecture, that we have organization structures based on line, we have organizational structures based on line and staff, and we also have organizational structures based on function and on market. So that would be typically more to do with the organization of the sales department. This is more to do with the authority here. So we see that whether the executives must clearly know whether they have a line authority to issue directives and get things done, or they have a staff authority which is more of advisory in nature, or it is a functional authority where again it is a very specialized role that they must perform. The organization structure also clearly helps optimize, helps organize, people and the salespeople and the management, optimize time and resources. Once there is a clear-cut demarcation of roles, responsibilities is laid down, superior subordinate relationships are known, there is mechanism for coordination and control, resources would get optimized, there would be no duplication of activities, no chaos, no confusion. So there would be a huge amount of optimization, and the salespeople would be able to work more effectively and efficiently. Selling expenses would fall, which would mean that this would have a positive impact on the net profits of the company. It may so happen that as organizations grow, they may need more manpower, they may need, and so additional subordinates may be required. When sales staff expands, executives at higher level would delegate authority, and they would act in more specialized roles, and at that time senior management role lies in coordination or coordinating activities. In case the executive is not a good coordinator, sales staff may not be able to work in harmony, and this would lead to conflict, it would lead to chaos, it would lead to inefficiencies in the system. So it's very, very important that the sales organization creates in place a mechanism for coordination, for control, so that there can be optimization of time and resources. Now, a major problem with respect to building a sales organization is reorganization, because because there is already an organization structure which exists. The sales organization has to be built in within another organization, which is the large or the corporate organization. So it is like having another another organization within a larger organization. And as we said earlier, that when the environment changes, it is important to change or restructure the sales organization. So this kind of change and rechange, or structuring and restructuring, can be a bigger problem. And the goal of setting up a sales organization is to make the organization more effective by selling more goods and services which are manufactured by the company. Creating a sales organization means it's a new organization being built within an existing organization. Now, what are the steps in forming a sales organization? First is you define the objectives. Second is you identify the activities to achieve the objectives. You then group the activities into jobs or positions. You assign the sales people to those positions, and you provide mechanisms for control and coordination. Now, a little while ago, I did speak about objectives and activities, and there I did say that similar activities need to be clubbed together under a person or under a unit head. We will call this as a job or a position, and then you must assign sales people to these positions, and you have to provide mechanism for coordination and control. So when we define objectives, the objective is a specific goal which a person or a system has to achieve. And the first step here is to define the objectives of the sales department. The top management determines the long-term objectives. The core objective here for an organization is not just to survive, but to produce profits as well. And so it's very important for the marketing team and the sales team to know what is the objective, and how in terms of both the volume, in terms of both the resource constraints and time, etc. So what is to be in other words, what we are saying is what is to be achieved in what time and under what resource constraints. So objectives can be qualitative, they could be quantitative. Quantitative objectives relate to numbers, which are typical numbers like number of units to be sold, profitability levels which are targeted, market share to be attained. So these are important operating guideposts. Qualitative objectives are which are more in non-numeric and relate to customer satisfaction, loyal customer base, delighted customers, and all this is very, very important for the long-term survival of a company. So it is very essential that qualitative objectives are also kept in mind, which would mean customer satisfaction, customer delight, customer loyalty, addressing customer complaints, entering into customer relationship management exercises, so that people the customer feels important, he feels he feels that he's being cared for, and this would all have an ultimate impact on the quantitative objectives, which would be in terms of the units sold, the profitability, or the market share which a company is aiming at. After that, you have to identify the activities which are important to gain, which are crucial and are important to gain those objectives. So, once those activities have been identified, the organization would know, the managers would know, what are critical activities, to whom are they to be delegated to, a relationship of those critical positions with other positions, job descriptions, job specifications. So, once the activities are known, the managers would be able to understand how to delegate roles, how to delegate responsibilities, because these activities need to be then clubbed into job positions and job roles. So, they would know that what are these activities, what are these critical activities, what are the kind of job roles required, what are job descriptions, what are job specifications, and so they would be able to move further with respect to hiring or training, or hiring, training, or maybe if it is from external sources, or maybe if it is an internal source, promoting people to those levels and fitting in those positions. So, the next comes in is grouping activities into those positions. The different activities must be grouped into positions, and required resources must be made available to people at these levels to achieve objectives. As I said, the people may sometimes be within the organization who may be transferred or promoted to fill in those positions. Sometimes people may be hired from outside, and whatever it may be, the job analysis has to be done, which should clearly talk about the job description and the job specification. The job description deals with the nature of the job, the duties and responsibilities, and job specification would be deals with the qualifications required, the skills, the knowledge required to be able to perform those job roles. So, in small organizations, one position may be entrusted with a huge amount of responsibility, but in large organizations where special things become very specialized, so the jobs are looked at, and specialists are made to fit into important job roles and job positions. The jobs which are of critical importance for sales organization and have huge impact on the sales objectives, it's very important that a right fit or a best fit must be made between the nature of the job and the person who is fitting into that job role. So, a balance has to be made between what the job requires and what the kind of skills and expertise the person should hold to be able to achieve a best fit or a good match. Then salespeople are assigned to those positions. Again, as we said, there has to be a match between the job requirement and the person selected for the job. For some job, basic qualifications are enough, but for some jobs, highly specialized qualifications may be required. And then the organization should ensure or provide for mechanisms of coordination and control. Until unless there is a mechanism for coordination and control, things will be very difficult. Such mechanisms can either be very formal or informal, and the objective of coordination and control is to ensure that targets are achieved, and in case there is any modification, they are executed in a proper manner. So, another important instrument for organizational control is the job description, which clearly tells you the job duties, responsibilities, reporting relationships. So, this also acts as a mechanism of coordination and control. The organization chart is another form of controlling, where we know clearly who does what, who reports to whom, and how the different department people, how the different activity heads, or how the different positions get related to each other. It shows formal relationship between positions, clearly specifies who reports to him, and it kind of reduces any chances of chaos, confusion. It leads to better coordination. So, with this we come to an end of the fourth lecture on the second module of this particular course. The references still Kandif, Govani and Puri, Havaldar and Kawale, Panda and Sehdev and Futrell. We come to a conclusion of this particular lecture. We will continue with the lecture in the next. We will continue with the topic in the next lecture. Thank you.